Dr. Jonathan Hart, the Secretary General of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association.
You just attended a meeting. Can you please tell us what is the outcome of the meeting, sir?
We had appeal from the ministers that involved Minister Magui, Minister Tue, Minister Jada, and Senator Kumo. They gave up promises that they will look into our issues and they will resolve it in the soonest possible time. But they are calling upon us to abort the go-slow action. And we will have to get back to our body and convey this discussion to them. And what the body tells us, we will get back to the ministers.
Doctors across the country are still on their go-slow action. Will this still continue, sir, as we speak?
As I said, we are going back straight to our camp, okay, to talk to the doctors again, then the appeal from the government, and then that decision will be made, okay, in the next few hours. But for now, everything stays as it is.
Now, the Minister of Government Officials are calling you here to appeal to you to relax some of the demands. Why can't you just accept it and then just allow things to go to normal?
Okay, they didn't call us to relax the demand, they called us to relax our action, that which is the go-slow action. They promised to look into our demand. But what we want from the association, we want a tangible agreement, okay? A written agreement between the government and the association, giving timeline that each of our demands will be met. We think that if we have this timeline specifying at which time that item 1 will be addressed, item 2 will be addressed, then we have something to take back to our body and say that this government has committed herself to something. So until that, the process of negotiation continues.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, welcome.
Welcome, I know you love you.
Why, sir? Why, Mr. Minister?
You just had a meeting with doctors in the country. What's the outcome?
Well, I think the outcome is good. We're all working together. You know, these doctors have had tremendous hardship over the past 12 years. And the key point that we drove home is that this is a new government that is committed to addressing many of these challenges. We don't claim to have the resources to be able to solve all of the problems in the country. But we're committed to credibly sitting down and developing a framework together that we can solve the problem. So there was really no need for the strike action or the go-slow action, because this thing is just coming to my attention yesterday when we were in Freetown with the president for the first time. So what we found is that there are other ways of resolving this. Talk to the Minister of Health, come to the Minister of State, inform the President's office, inform the Minister of Finance, like we did today. We come and discuss the issue. But I think the strike action is maybe in the past government, they've made some requests that were slow to come true, and so they believe that when they approach government generally, they don't get results. What we're telling them is this is a different government now. You approach the last government, you didn't get results. This government, you're going to get results. You're going to get a response. Okay? So we're committed to all working together as a country, as a sector. We offered on the sidelines of the meeting in the cabinet retreat to lift the discussion as well. So the Minister of State, myself, key sector players will sit down with the Minister of Health and the technical people here to look at some of the short term, the medium term, and the long term issue.
Did you reach any agreement, Mr. Minister, with the doctors?
Well, I think generally from the discussion, all of the other doctors were there, the leadership were there. The consensus that is emerging is that we now have a framework going forward to address issues.
Did they agree to?
No, it was not a meeting to say they agreeing, not agreeing. At the end of the day, a consensus emerged out of the discussion. And we believe, as Liberians who are concerned about the country, as doctors who really mean well for, many of them don't really want to strike. These doctors don't want to strike, actually. They don't want to do this stuff. Because that's the sentiment I got from the meeting. Many of them say they are placed in a hard situation, and we understand.
So why are they doing it?
Well, I don't know. If you were in that situation, you probably would want to do the same. So as government, we understand their plight, and we empathize with them. Okay, this is why we want to move very fast to solve the problem.
How soon?
So how soon?
Well, I mean, as soon as today. In fact, some of the problems have already been solved. The
You can name some of those problems.
well, they're putting people back on the payroll, to the doctors. We've already taken care of that. We're in the process of, during the ghost cleanup here, they took some names out who were legitimate doctors. Those people have been placed back on the payroll. Between the press conference and that time, the work has already been done. So it's just a matter of understanding commonality, bringing all players together to speak with one voice. And I think we achieved that today.
Salary issue.
Yeah, salary issue, we're on track. We're on track. So again, the consensus you should report is that we're not this meeting is not a meeting to solve problems, because we can't solve all of the problems in the next 3 years, let alone in one meeting. We can develop a framework to start putting some of the short-term problems that we're able to solve them, which we're already in the process, and then develop a timeline to move towards the medium-term problem and then the long-term problem, okay? But we believe that over the next 6 years, on a personal we will not be having these kind of challenges, because we have a more strategic, sector-wide approach to that, coordination between Ministry of Finance. As a matter of fact, as Minister of Finance, I have informed the Minister of Health that every Tuesday between 9:30 to 10:30, she has 1 hour with me as Minister for the duration of my service or my tenure as Minister of Finance. That day, anybody comes on Tuesday 9:30 to 10:30, the Minister will be there. And I will not only have her come there, I will come here sometime 9:30 to 10:30. So that's a commitment. I've done the same thing for the Minister of Education, to tell you that the President is really concerned about the way we deliver government. So the ministers need to be talking to one another. One of the reasons why this thing is happening also is the communication. I mean, I know the president of the what is the LMD? Yeah, Ms. Louise Koto. We know one another from university. My Minister of State knows her. So we could have averted all of this had we known this. So it's how communication happens among Liberians, within government, between government, ministries and agencies and all of that.
Ordinary citizens across the country are worried. What can you say to them?
I think ordinary citizens, the doctors are going to go to work. There's no question. I mean, we've handled the situation. The president sent us here to take care of this, and the doctors coming out of this, I'm sure that they're going to call this off.
Any final comment?
My final comment is that this just shows you that we face a very difficult situation. A country, the budget is just. We submitted a budget of 563, but technically revenue this year is ending up around 489 million. So that's the gap, all right? So we have $303 million just to pay people. I mean, if you take 303 million from 480, how much is left there to do anything else? So it's a very difficult situation. Over the long term, these problems are resolved when we start to develop the private sector. One of the issues we're talking about is that, all the doctors, for example, can't work on the government payroll. You will agree with me. Every doctor can't go on the government payroll. Maybe some doctors will go into private clinics, right? Because we can't have a situation where every doctor, the day we come to a point where we're producing 200 doctors every year, do you believe that 200 doctors every year for the next 600 years will be coming to the government? No, that's not how it's worked. So we have to develop the private sector. But the reason why the private sector is constrained because we have electricity problem. Okay, we have road challenges. So all of these things over the next 5 years, we want to move the country's development so that if a doctor, somebody can make an investment here where doctors can go and start working and not be on government payroll.
Minister, are you saying that we have too many doctors in Liberia?
No, we don't have. We need to produce more doctors. We're just saying all of the doctors can be on the public sector wage. That's what we're saying. So it is not sustainable to promise that everybody who becomes a medical doctor, the government will pay you for the next 200 years. It's not possible. We don't have that resources. Okay, we need to build roads. We need to pay teachers. We don't even have teachers on the payroll. We have around 8,000 teachers to put on the payroll also. We have that. So if we did all of those things, we'll only be paying people, because we already have 303 million. We put another 30 million people on, say that'll go to around 340 million. That's the whole budget. It means we just sit down and just pay and not do any other work. So the long solution for you is that the economy has to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Francis Kete is Liberia's Chief Medical Officer. So welcome.
Thank you all so much.
You just last time you were busy from hospital to hospital. How was it?
Yeah, definitely. As Chief Medical Officer, it was a concern. As a matter of fact, I were to travel today to Geneva to attend a World Health Assembly. But because of the urgency of this present situation, we had to defer our travel in order to make sure that the situation in the country remained calm.
So now you attended a meeting with these doctors. They have so many problems listed that the government should address. Talk about taking people from the payroll, low incentive, poor working environment. How soon are you going to address these concerns?
I mean, the right thing here is that I think the minister inviting the key stakeholders. You just spoke with the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. You saw the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, who is the direct representative of the President. And you also saw Dr. Peter Coleman leaving this area. So we've had all of the stakeholders here. And I think we had a very, very good discussion. As he clearly indicated, the process is a long process. We have a framework that we have to work through. And so within the framework, you have a short term, you have medium, and you have long term. And also within those short term, medium term, and long term, you have low hanging fruits. So we begin to cultivate those low hanging fruits as we move forward to develop the healthcare system.
The low hanging fruits you are speaking about, could you elaborate?
Yes, I think one of the low hanging fruit was that those ghost lists, the doctors that were removed and so forth. So this is a process that I've already started. The necessary documents have been put in place. So the processing, especially with the finance minister being here, I think that processing will take a little faster time than it would have under a normal situation. So those are low-hanging fruits that we're trying to pick up.
For this meeting that just ended, put a halt or an end to the postal action that the doctors
so far we have appealed, and that is the ministry, the minister herself appealed to the doctors. You know, the interesting thing here is that Dr. Jala is a medical doctor, and so she's a member of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. I'm also a medical doctor, so I'm also a member of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. So it's basically we appealing to ourselves, you know, appealing to our leaders and say, look, please, we have to understand that our role and responsibility, our duty to the people of Liberia is to serve them. So since we have already begun the process of making sure that the low-hanging fruits can be cultivated immediately, please let us go back and do what we were called to do and what we have decided we will do. So I think there's a process. I think there is some goodwill. So definitely we'll see some goodwill.
From the faces of those who were at the meeting,
definitely from the
see that they'll be willing to get back to
yes, from the faces and so forth, I think there is a goodwill, and very soon there will be something.
So do we expect doctors to return to work tomorrow, sir?
I can give you a time frame because I'm not a leader. I'm just a member of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. But my president and the Secretary General will speak to that.
Do you think the action funded by this doctor was an alternative?
This is something that we have to go into why things were done and so forth. But I think at the end of the day, I think we have had a very good discussion, and hopefully from the discussion we've had, there will be a plan for the welfare of not only doctors but for the healthcare workers of this country.
How many doctors are we talking about?
In terms of those on the go slow, I mean, basically, like I indicated, I'm a medical doctor, and so
are you appointed doctors?
I think basically we have the doctors now, over 300 doctors in this country who are part and parcel of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. So at different level, people empathize at different level. Whether everyone is going to go slow, that is something. But last night, I went to several of the hospitals around Monrovia and saw some of our good colleagues out there trying to provide care. So definitely we may empathize. That doesn't mean that we are on the go slow.
Finally, from my end, did you receive any news since the go slow started about deaths being reported in any hospital around the country?
No, I haven't received any. That doesn't mean it may not, but I don't think that doctors were not at the facility. Like I indicated last night, I was up until almost 2 o'clock this morning trying to go to the various facilities. In the meantime, I was calling the counties, hospitals, and making sure that people were there. And everywhere that I called, they had doctors there.
That isn't it troubling for the society?
I really don't think, I mean, it's a concern. It is a concern, and I think it is now time for us to begin to look at the healthcare system in a different spectrum. The thing here is that, and I said this over and over, there is nothing free. We have to realize this. You know, the fastest growing business in Liberia is drinking spots. And so if drinking spot is the fastest growing business in this country, it leads to a lot of complication, liver cirrhosis and other things. So I think it is time that all Liberians need to sit together and begin to rethink how do we move forward with our health system? That takes into consideration, can we contribute, even if it's $1, of each person contributing towards the health system, so that tomorrow we can all have a better healthcare system. So I think this is the beginning of a major dialogue that we all can have.
So what's the final word to Dr. up there?
The final word is that, I mean, I've always told my colleagues that we are all doctors. We are called, we're called to provide services. One of the things I tell people, anyone who works within the healthcare system, sometimes I ask ourselves, do we have some kind of problem? Because if you get up and say, look, the only thing I want to do in life is to play with blood, to play with urine, to play with feces and so forth, then there is something. So that passion that we all have, that have made us to dedicate our lives and so forth, we should not forego that passion because of something else. Let us concentrate and work for the people. And as long as we work very hard for the people themselves will understand the concerns that we have, and they will become our best advocates.
Thank you, sir.